Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. All right, this is going to be a reading on the Mayorkas impeachment and what happens in the Senate. Um, I've always assumed that if an impeachment happened in the House, it would have to be a trial in the Senate, but that's not necessarily the case. In doing a little bit of research for this reading, I'll include the Forbes article I've got linked here. Um, Multiple constitutional law experts have denounced the charges against Mayorkas as political showmanship that do not rise to the level of impeachment or merit a trial. The Senate should swiftly reject these articles as a matter of law rather than holding a full blown merits trial, four of these law experts wrote. They also wrote that nothing in the Constitution or in the Senate rules requires that every impeachment trial involve a full blown proceedings of the sort that occurred during the recent trials of former President Donald Trump. So, and Bo, the fifth column also touched on that this could be something that they vote on, they put it in committee, and then it never sees the light of day. Uh, Schumer has already said that this is a new low for the House GOP, and it's sham charges. Uh, of interest, in the impeachment resolution appointed 11 Republicans as impeachment managers, and it was being led by, let's see if I can find his name here. He's not on this list. Anyways, Mark Green introduced the measure. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Andy Biggs, Ben Klein, Clay Higgins, Andrew Garbarino, Michael Guest, Harriet Hageman, Laurel Lee, Michael McCall, and August Pfluger. There's another article I had that had another person that was on there that was actually supposed to lead it. Let's see if I can find his name here real quick. God dang it. Anyways, I'm being distracted. Do your research, David. So I want to kind of read on, will this impeachment trial actually make it to the Senate floor? And then I want to do a reading on, if it makes it to the floor, how will it go? If it doesn't make it to the floor, how will it go? You know, that type of thing. What's going to happen if they bury it versus have it? Now you might say, well, why would you want it to go on the floor? Because Marjorie Taylor Greene's one of the managers, man. Can you imagine the absolute clown car show that it would be with her leading a trial? Oh my God, if you wanted to put the dysfunction of the Republican Party on full display, put that woman there and make Fox News cover it. Oh, it'd be glorious. You can imagine the rebuttals. It would be amazing. Would it be a political win for the Democrats? Possibly. You know, just putting the Republicans on full display and the ridiculousness that are the House Republicans. That would be the political advantage of doing it. Maybe they don't want to do it because of Mayorkas and feelings and stuff like that. I don't know. But let's look at the energy around the impeachment of Mayorkas and the upcoming Senate decisions that the Senate has to make. Okay? Entertainment purposes only. What are things looking like here? Da, 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 da. We've got an upside down deck, and we do. Eight of Swords. Okay, you know, this is kind of the... Eight of Swords is about being held hostage, but it's also about freedom of choice. As been pointed out to me, this woman appears to be helpless, but the bonds are loose. She could easily escape her bonds, take off the blindfold, and leave this situation. So the Senate is not powerless. However, they will be forced to address this issue. Whether they like it or not, they're being forced to address this issue. Crossed with the victory and the look at me card, rallying the troops, and the messaging going underneath it. If they decide to bury this item in committee, you know, the GOP is going to expose them for shams, you know, like, oh, it's partisan politics again. We finally, you know, this is the House Republicans getting their victory. and having everybody look at them as having done something useful for their constituents. If you have a trial, are you handing them a victory, or are you putting the focus on them? Regardless, the Democrats are probably looking at the best way to handle this situation here and their messaging of their values. All these pages. In the past, the Page of Swords. It's really the part of it is messaging on the southern border, and that's the problem. This is all about messaging on the southern border, and that's a weak spot for the Democrats right now. And the Republicans are taking a victory lap because they're doing something, air quotes there, about the southern border and their messaging on it. Certainly the Democrats would look at this impeachment as just the stupidest, most reckless thing by stupid, reckless people that could have been done, because there's no there. And legally they know that. But they might be forced to deal with it because there's no real reason or legal reason to do this, they're still forced to address it because of the messaging that goes out. And again, this is politics. This is not about reasonableness and sensibility. It's about politics. It's about looks. Current situation is the Eight of Cups, wanting to walk away from this. This could be translated as the border and them walking away from their responsibilities with the border. Sorry, Michelle's home and talking downstairs, and I don't want the background noise coming in here. This also could be, if they have a trial, are they walking away from one of their own, so to speak? Emotionally, do they just want to get away from the drama? There's all sorts of things that they have to look at here with this. And, they've got some time before they have to make a decision on how they handle this trial. The High Priestess. They need to make the right choices here. This is kind of a critical thing with the Senate. And I imagine that Schumer and Jeffries and Biden team members are talking about how's the best way to play this. What makes the most sense for the party? In some ways, it's also, the Senate makes their own rules. They have a lot of autonomy with this, so they can do what they want, type of thing. They're not forced to do this that they don't want to. The lesson to be learned is the Queen of Pentacles. How do they want to spend their time looking at the value of something? Is this valuable? Is it not valuable? What are the, if we send it to committee, how's that going to look? If we have a trial, how is that going to look? Weighing your options and looking to see what's best. The outcome is the Four of Swords. Contemplation, thinking about it, rest. I think, and Bo had said that, Bo the Fifth Column had suggested that likely they will bury this in committee and it'll never see the light of day. Just looking at this right now, I think that's the option that they're considering. How do they just bury this thing so nobody ever talks about it again? The GOP got their victory in the House. Do we want to give them anything more than that? Okay, so now that leads to my next two readings. What will be the fallout? How are things going to look if the House sends this to committee, for instance, and then just buries it in committee until after the election or something along those lines? How will that play out for the Democrats? What's the energy like if the Senate sends this to committee? It doesn't have a trial, a full-blown trial, or just dismisses it. And who knows? I mean, they don't have to have a full-blown trial. How will it look if they don't have a full-blown trial? For instance, sending it to committee and then burying it. That's what I want to know. Hanged Man. Looking at things, or do they need to sacrifice this person? Hanged Man. Looking at things from a different perspective. Unwilling to sacrifice this person. The Emperor. If they send it to committee, Trump's going to be talking about it all the time. How they're protecting this guy who didn't protect the United States. It'll give Trump another thing on the border to talk about. And it's about that messaging, about the grifting and the fundraising and the difference in values between the Democrats and the Republicans. This could be Trump. This could be, this could be Schumer making the decision too, right? Because Schumer is the one in charge. Trump can't be all the cards. He can't be the 10 of coins. He can't be the devil. He can't be the emperor. But in this case, I do think it's the Emperor Trump that, if we bury this, then Emperor Trump is going to come speaking. In the past, we have the Ace of Swords. Again, the border issue is a key weapon of the Republicans. And that's their only strategy for winning the election on any type of policy issue. And the Democrats, they agreed to some rather draconian immigration changes in order to try and disarm the Republicans. And the Republicans wouldn't agree to them because Trump needs to run on this. So again, if you bury it, Trump is going to keep talking about it. The do-nothing Democrats. The current situation is the Four of Wands. Celebration. It's welcoming something in or kicking something out. He would argue that they... I wonder if Mayorkas would resign. This could be Mayorkas offering to resign his position to try and take pressure off the Biden administration. That could be an option here. I haven't even discussed that. This would be like avoiding the trial or having the trial. But I asked what happens if they bury it. They bury it and say goodbye. But I think Trump's going to be saying, you should have been having this. We should have had a trial. I got put on trial. He should have been put on trial too. He should be arrested and thrown in prison because he just lets people in over the border. I think that's going to be, he's going to message on the border here that the Democrats are just letting anybody in over the border and they'll protect anybody who gives aid and comfort to illegal immigrants. The overarching energy is the High Priestess. Is this the right choice? Is this the right choice for the Democrats? Because they see where Trump's and the GOP are going to go with this. The lesson to be learned is the Page of Cups. It might just be that in the political calculus of things, Trump supporters are Trump supporters. They're MAGA supporters. They're not reasonable. And being reasonable with unreasonable people does not net you a reasonable result. It's almost like you have to ignore Trump. You have to ignore these people because you're never going to get them on your side anyways. Outcome would be the Nine of Wands. So if they bury this, they're going to have to endure this man and his cause and the lobbying on that one. And they will be wondering if they made the right choice. What else is going to happen? Is this going to blow up in our faces kind of thing because of all the messaging? So they could bury it, but it's going to be, they'll be uneasy about it. They won't be sure if that's the right thing to do. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. They're going to be nervous that what they think is a wise decision may be a foolish decision because they don't know how that'll turn out. So how about a four-carder? How will that turn out? If we look in November of 2024, will this be an issue? Because by that point, Trump's going to have been through some criminal trials and it may not matter, right? waiting for Trump to fall hard. How will it look in November of 2024? Four of Coins, holding things close together, holding on to values. The Lover's card, Knight of Pentacles. Why is that upside down? I don't need to do another one. In the Victory. I think people will have forgotten about it. It's like, it's not on people's hearts and minds on this one. There's other things going on at that point. How will it turn out? By keeping it secret, they're kind of holding on to things here. Going forward with their values. There's agreements, betrayal, heartbreak. It could be that okay, I think basically Biden and the Democrats hold on with this. They have their victory. They can go forward with their border deals, come up with agreements, but there's a betrayal here. It's almost I do wonder if Mayorkas does resign his position as an agreement that I'll step down. This is a betrayal. I shouldn't have to do this, but I'm willing to do this so that the party can move forward. Something along those lines. It could very well be that happens on there. Not quite sure what that all is meaning for November. Okay, what happens if they decide to have a full-blown trial? What happens if the Democrats decide to have a full-blown trial? Give the GOP the circus that they want. How is that going to look? The Tower. It's going to be a shit show. It's going to be every bit what you expect it to be. I don't think this is Mayorkas and the border coming down. I do think that this is... When you have a trial, you have to have evidence. They don't have evidence. So nothing good can come for the GOP from this trial. Because you have to provide evidence and facts and logic. And they are in short supply of all of those things. Cross with the Ten of Cups. Happy family, the happy endings for things. The betrayal, the heartbreak. It's one of those things. It's obvious that they're not going to impeach Mayorkas. I do think, though, that if they have the trial, you're going to show just how dysfunctional the GOP really is. And members... that people that support the GOP are really going to be disappointed with this because they think they're going to get this impeachment and they're really doing something on the border, but there's nothing there. And it's going to be just people screaming at each other there. Now here's the interesting kicker. And this is where the betrayal comes in. How many members in the Senate on the Democrats would vote to impeach Mayorkas? How many members of the Senate would vote to impeach Mayorkas? Right now, the Senate members are not happy with the House. So I don't think you're going to get a 51-49 vote. You know what I mean? Or even a 50-50 vote. How many members of the Senate are going to say there's nothing there and just say you to the House Republicans who are making a mess and a mockery of the GOP and people's chances to run for re-election, especially in the 2024 election? I think it would look particularly bad if, the Senate votes to acquit 80-20. because that's what it looks like it would happen. And then they would look at the senators who did not support it as betraying the party. They didn't put party above country. In the past, the 9 of coins. This is if they put him on trial. What is this telling me? It's almost like donors, or this has nothing to do with the border. This has to do with the money that they're getting. The House, the extremists in the House right fundraise off of this. They run elections off of this. This benefits them by having this go to trial in the past. You know, again, they're fundraising, and here's what we're doing of value to the American people. But this is going to be just an absolute disaster. If they bring it to the floor, there's going to be huge disappointment, shame. You know, they're not going to make their points. They're not going to make their points, and they're going to maybe only get 2 out of 5 Republicans in the Senate, 40% of the Republicans to support it. And again, if there's roughly 50 Republicans in the Senate, 40% of that is 20 Republicans and 30 voting against it. 50 Democrats, it's going to make it 80-20. I really think that if they brought this, 30 Republicans would vote to acquit. This would be an unmitigated disaster to the Republican Party. McConnell probably doesn't want this on the floor to save the embarrassment. But at the same time, this might be what it takes to divide the Republican Party into the MAGA faction and the non-MAGA faction. This could be the defining moment that crushes the Republicans. Even if they don't bring it to trial, this could be the thing. You know, the House Republicans, the MAGA faction, will be so pissed off at the Senate for not doing it that this could cause that fracturing of the Republican Party. If they do bring it to the floor, you know, it's not going to convince a bunch of people, and it's really just going to shine a light. It's going to illuminate what's going on here, the divisions within the Republican Party and the split that's going to come. Some will go back into their cave, some will progress forward. The lesson to be learned from all this is the Queen of Wands, the thing of value that comes out of it. The action taken, the looking forward. You know, you go from the 9 of coins to the Queen of Wands. The decisions made. What is going on here? This card does represent to me sometimes Ukraine. It's almost like you've got the conservatives that support Ukraine are not the MAGA conservatives that support Putin. I do think that, again, I think this leads to further actions and division in the Republican Party. Not quite sure what to do with that card. Outcome is the Knight of Pentacles. Different messagings, different values coming out. Failing to impeach him may lead to a revisiting of that immigration bill and passing the immigration bill instead. Kind of like the consolation prize, if you will. Well, we couldn't impeach him, so we had to accept some substandard deal on the border as a face-saving device. Or it could bring up more negotiations on the border, and if it does, those negotiations may not go so well for the Republicans in the House or the Senate. Because why should the Democrats be any more generous? They've already impeached the Homeland Security Director, and it didn't work. Or the Secretary of Homeland Security, and it didn't work. And we've already agreed to something that they disagreed to. Where's the incentive for the Democrats to do anything to help on the border? They've already given more than they should. And now they can play a little more hardball because the Republicans are fractured. And if the Republicans want something, now it's going to be the next best deal. Here comes the fun part of the reading. You've endured me for 25 minutes. Marjorie Taylor Greene. If they go to trial with Marjorie Taylor Greene, how's that going to look? How's Marjorie Taylor Greene going to look? Oh, God. How is she... Oh, the card's falling out here. This card wants to be the signifier, so we'll leave it there. Is that a temperance card I saw? No. King of Cups. Biden? Or just an emotional train wreck? She's just a ball of emotions here. King of Cups. We'll throw a second signifier on that in the burden card. Oh... The emotional burden. That is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh, I was just going to do a 4-carder, so let's do that. The Fool. You think? Illusions. Winner takes all. Fool's Gold. No value whatsoever. She's going to be an emotional burden of screaming and yelling. There's no there. This is all illusion. She doesn't have... Now, if she actually had evidence, she could produce the evidence. But she doesn't have evidence, so there's no evidence to produce. So she comes across looking like a complete idiot. And she won't acknowledge it. She, it's just... She's such a zealot. People will start seeing her for the zealot that she is. Because she will argue a point with no evidence whatsoever. And that's fine if you're in front of TV cameras on a weekend news show or if you're at a rally. But in a court case, in front of a bunch of frickin' lawyers as jurors, you have to come with the receipts. You just can't pound on the table and expect it to go well. It doesn't work that way. But did we expect anything else? All right. If this goes on the floor of the Senate and it's voted, he's acquitted, how does that pan out for the Democrats in November? Okay. We asked about if they bury it, how it looks. Let's see how it pans out if they don't bury it. Why give Trump anything to run on? And he's going to tell you to do nothing Democrats anyways, right? So what does it matter? Betrayal, heartbreak. How does it go out? We got the Lover's card, the 10 of Coins, 7 of Wands, and the Empress. If they vote to acquit, you know what this is? This betrayal isn't against Biden. This is a betrayal. This is the breakup of the Republican Party. The MAGAs are going to say that the rhinos are more interested in illegal immigration than they are protecting the country. And it's going to lead to a breakup between the Republicans. Now, the Empress is about taking care of everybody on the high energy. Low energy is... and pregnant with possibilities. Low energy is lazy, entitled, so on and so forth. And the name calling will begin. You're not taking care of the American people like you should. We're talking money and legacy here. This is like the Republican Party, the legacy of the Republican Party and their reputation. Here's the fighting in the agreements. It's by Republicans not supporting the impeachment of Mayorkas along party lines. The party is basically going to fractionate. There's going to be fighting within the party. That there's betrayals and a breakup. These aren't getting together. These aren't people coming together. They're people being split apart because of betrayal. This is the divorce and the fighting for assets, fighting for the people, the party, and the support here. This impeachment can very well be the breakup that is needed. Oh, now let's go back to the Democrats bury it. That's what that 4 of coins is. If the Democrats bury this, then the Republicans can keep it together. They can pretend that they're not divided on this issue because the Republicans in the Senate aren't put on record voting on it. There might still be a betrayal in there because they should have been fighting harder to get this on the floor, but the Republican senators are in a minority, so they can just say it's the Democrats. So that's what that 4 of coins probably was, is the Republican Party sticking together a bit longer. This wouldn't be the issue that divides them. But if it's brought to the floor, I see this dividing the Republicans and splitting the party. So here you go, political time. Do we want Mayorkas to have to go through a trial? Not really. He hasn't done anything wrong. He hasn't done anything to deserve this. And the man should not be humiliated like that. Mayorkas may tell the Democrats, let's do it anyways, because politically this will be beneficial and I'm willing to sacrifice myself for this, and it will lead to the implosion of the Republican Party. Again, do we want it to happen? Probably not, because it's not fair and it's not just. But politically, this could be an absolute landmine that the Republicans are about to step on, and they're going to blow their leg off, and they'll only have one leg to stand on. And that leg will be Marjorie Taylor Greene's leg. And I'll leave you to in the comments about how many toes she may or may not have on that leg. She's got 5 toes, okay? I realize there's doctored pictures showing differently, and it's really gruesome. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google Marjorie Taylor Greene 3 toes, and you'll see the doctored pictures, and they're really, really gross. But she's also really, really gross, so you kind of want to believe it, right? Just because if the shoe fits the 3-toed shrill harpy, well, take it. See, I knew I'd work in shrill harpy in there. I was asking Michelle during lunch today, or this morning, if she had ever heard of the term shrill harpy. And then we looked it up, and it just means a harpy is used to describe a really obnoxious, rude woman who talks down to people and is really loud. It's like, wow, that really does describe her, doesn't it? It sounds like it's a comment that's used as a demeanor to women. And I didn't want to use it unless I looked it up first. It's like, yeah, but the problem is that's exactly who she is. It's actually a great description of Marjorie Taylor Greene's behavior. So, yeah. Oh God. Okay, I'm rambling now. We're 33 minutes and I'm going crazy. Anything else with this? This could be to the Democrats' advantage to send this to trial. So if they do not, this might be in the long-term benefit for the Democrats. Most benevolent outcome. This could really fracture the Republicans sooner rather than later. So we'll see what happens. If they don't do it, they don't do it. We roll with it because it's out of our decisions. But if they do it, this may not be the worst thing that could happen. Okay? Just want to throw that out there to calm the waves a little bit. Anyways, thank you for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for your likes and your shares and everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm so that my video makes it out to a wider audience. To folks just discovering this channel recently, welcome. Glad you found us. Hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.